Well, Tammy, we are in Arcadia, and this particular voting station is called Wonderwoning's a voting station. Eastern Cape is actually where DA's Helen Zille has been deployed to. And of course, knowing that the focus point has been the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. We're going to speak to her now. I mean, Helen, do you look at the numbers that have come out for the Democratic Alliances? Is this giving you a bit of confidence and a boost?
Look, I never ever call a result before the fat lady sings, and we're a long way from that. We're not even halfway through the day yet. So it's going to be a very major push that we're going to give. It's a strongly contested metro, this, and we're not being complacent for a second.
Yes. And now talking about the smaller parties, I mean, we spoke earlier on with Yusuf regarding the concern. Is there a concern from your end with what you're seeing with the small breakaway parties that have just been formed?
Yes. Well, the small breakaway parties are mostly fronts for the ANC. I saw the ANC at this very voting station this morning servicing the Northern Alliance, servicing DOP. So what the ANC does, because it gets no votes in the northern areas, is that it puts up other smaller parties that it resources and supports to get votes indirectly that way. So these are just front parties for the ANC.
And of course, we know that this is one of the Democratic Alliance's stronghold that has been in the 2016 local government elections. And I'm assuming you're still expecting the same this year.
Well, what we're expecting is that our hard work will be rewarded, but we don't take anything for granted. We've been working very, very hard here. The candidate, Johnny Orange, his very loyal supporters here. We've been working flat out, and we hope that that hard work and that loyalty and commitment will be rewarded, yes.
All right, thank you so much. That's Helen Zille, the head of the DA's council, federal council, that is telling us that although they are confident, but she's not taking anything for granted. I mean, if anything, Tammy, the 2016 local government elections here at the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro told us to expect the unexpected, because the 2016 local government results were not expected at all. Now, also, just to give you some of the overview of what is happening here currently. Now, there's not as much police presence as you would have assumed, but there are, of course, police inside of the voting station, inside the yard of the Wonderwoning's voting station. But another thing, when we were coming from where the mayoral candidate Ngabapanga was voting in KwaZulu, we had police escorting us out of the area and ensuring that we were safe. Now, that speaks to some of the hotspot areas, not just when it comes to voting or protest, but of crime, because crime is also another major concern for some of the residents in those areas. And having a police escorting us out of KwaZulu, I mean, it says a lot.
And I must ask you, the experiences with police have obviously been different depending on where one is stationed. But I'm interested in the voter turnout there. How is it looking like? Are there a large number of people who have been queuing throughout the course of this morning since 7?
Well, looking at the voting stations that we visited, the first one early in the morning, of course, slow start there at Epongweni Primary School, where mayoral candidate Ngabapanga was voting. Was rather quiet. As I said, it was the first time during the day where voters were coming out, and we are expecting more numbers coming out. And then we move on to Motherwell and Wells Estate, where we were. At Wesley, at Sandwana voting station, they have 2,301 voters registered to vote today. And then at about just before 10:30, they had processed 163 voters, meaning more voters are still expected to come throughout the day. As you know, it is a public holiday, meaning people can come up until 9 p.m. Also, where we spoke to ANC PEC member Thabo Matiwane in Wells Estate, we were told that around about 3,000 voters were registered there, although we're still a bit unsure of the numbers that have been processed so far. Looking at where we are now, Wonderwonings, I mean, it is quite busy, seeing people coming in and out of here. I'm sure you can see, Tammy, the activity and the line that is here. But also, just to not forget that it is happening during COVID-19 times. Times have changed for these local government elections. The lines that you're seeing now are going in. Of course, some of the IEC officials asking the voters to ensure that they are within 1.5 meters of each other to make sure that they practice social distancing. Now, there's also 2 lines, if you see it here, to ensure that the numbers of coming inside in the entrance is not a lot of people waiting in line. So they've basically opened up the 2 entrances that is leading into the voting station. The processing also happening on both sides to ensure that they keep within the COVID-19 regulations and protocols. We're also seeing IEC officials coming out with hand sanitizers, and people, of course, were told to not forget their own pens that they'll be using to vote.
Before I let you go, Sipa, clearly there's a lot of music in the background. Some people also using the quiet downtime to entertain themselves. What is the source of that music? Is it coming from a car nearby? What is the lay of the land there?
Well, I mean, with the voting stations that we've been to, 2 of them, they've been playing music. I mean, trying to entertain the crowds that are waiting, as you can see with the lines. Now, this particular music is coming from the Democratic Alliance's stand. Those are the DJs for today. And at Bongweni Primary School in the morning, we saw that the music was also coming from the UDM. They were the entertainers there. So each political party has decided to spice things up, if you would rather, and entertain the crowds that are actually coming in to vote.